Good morning. Good morning. Good Monday morning to everybody. Or happy morning to you whenever you are watching this live, or good morning to you whenever you are watching this live. Good evening, good afternoon, whatever it may be. If this is your first time here, I am Yashika and I am a life strategist and self actualization coach. And today we are continuing on with our series of getting to self actualization. And so, if this is your first time here, send me some love, show me some shout outs. You can do that by subscribing, following, or just leaving a note down below, giving me a thumbs up, saying something, whether you find it beneficial or didn't find it beneficial. If you're not catching it on live, then make sure you hashtag replay. And you might see this live somewhere else because my content is repurposed, right? My content is repurposed. But good morning, good morning. Listen, let's just give it up for consistency, okay? I want to start there. I want to give myself a pat on the back and give it up to consistency, all right? Consistency, okay? Because I've been showing up. I've been showing up every day for this series to make sure that you guys get this information, all right? And I know y'all watching it. I know y'all watching it, right? Even if you just come back through for a minute, I know you're watching it, and I know some people are getting things from it. And I appreciate the support, whether it's out loud or in my DMs. I appreciate it. So today we are talking about. Make sure I don't end my own live. All right. Today we are talking about you are not lazy, you're overwhelmed. You are not lazy, you are overwhelmed. Let me tell you something. What I know about being a person that's overwhelmed is that you can bog yourself out and force your body to be more tired because you are overwhelmed with so many responsibilities, right? And y'all know I got a story that I'm going to go ahead and dive deep into it. But first, we're going to get into the beginning of this, right? Again, this is a series of hey Marcus Norman, how you doing? This is a series of getting to self-actualization, right? This is part of it. How do you determine from you're not being lazy just opposed to you being overwhelmed? Now, one thing about people, we know ourselves, right? Now, some of us are being lazy. But what I've noticed is that when I go out in this wild, this thing we call the world, and I look around, the older I get, the more and more I realize that some people, not all people, but some people are literally doing the best they can for that day, right? Some people, like when we criticize people, well, why did you come out with that on your head? Or why did you do this? Or why do you have that on? Why didn't you bother? I'm realizing every day, the more and more I talk to people, the more and more I coach and counsel people, that some people are literally doing the best they could for that day. Now, I'm not saying everybody, okay? Now, everybody don't have that same excuse. But some people are just so overwhelmed in life until they are literally just doing the best that they can. And so when I think about that, that's why it's important for us to know ourselves and don't pay attention to other people, because if you know yourself and this is not a characteristic trait that you normally do, right? And you know it's like, okay, why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling tired? Why am I not caring about my appearance, or why am I not caring about the way I keep this up, or the way I you may very well be overwhelmed. And trust me, it happens. It happens, it happens, it happens. Overwhelm can show up as procrastination, putting things off, saying, you know what, I'll do it tomorrow. Listen, let me tell y'all something. Y'all can call it what you want, but I will tell you in all of this, this is important with knowing thyself. Okay, now, the reason why I said it is this. I don't like laundry. I have never liked doing laundry. My mother will tell you I have. Listen, I'll do laundry. I don't have a problem with doing laundry. I'll throw it in the washing machine. I'll sort it. I'll put all the components in there to make sure that those clothes get clean. Okay, but at the same time, I'm not going to. If I don't want to put the clothes up, I'm not. If I don't want to put the clothes up, I'm not. And people can call that lazy, but no, because laundry overwhelms me. So I have to do it when I don't do have anything else going on, because I'm trying to find a sock here. I'm trying to hang this up and make sure this go there. Then I got to find space. Okay, we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that. And so, one thing about being overwhelmed is that it can show up, and you got to know if it's just you being lazy. Because I know when I don't do that laundry, It's probably being lazy, right? It is being both, but at the same time, it overwhelms me. But this is why it's important to know thyself. And this is an answer to someone's question about, can it be true? Can you have someone have a lazy day and because they're overwhelmed? Absolutely. And this is what we're talking about today. Like, how do you know yourself enough where you know what it is? Because if you know you're not a person that lays around and do whatever, think about it. What are you doing? How many? Let me tell you something. One of the best things I did for myself last year was hire women to come into my house every 2 weeks to housekeep for me. That was something that I said that I didn't care what was going to happen. I was going to make that year my year. So when school started back up for my daughter in 2024, I went ahead and hired myself a housekeeper. Okay. Now, the reason being is because now, granted, I have a 2-level home. It's just she and I here. It's a pretty big home, okay? I'm okay with keeping it downstairs together because I'm downstairs all the time. I don't want to come upstairs, all right? And if y'all have listened to me enough, I'll say the upstairs is the girl's apartment, downstairs is my house, okay? Now, my office that I'm in now is upstairs in her apartment. So when I will go to, so when I clean, because remind you, I'm an entrepreneur, so I work from home. So of course I would make sure I slot time in to take care of things that need to be taken care of in the house. But when it came to the upstairs, I would have to like literally be intentional about it because it's not something that's constantly being used. Like some of these rooms are not constantly being used, but they still have to be maintained. I said, forget it. I'm not doing all that. Okay. Because there was a time in my life where I was working a job as a soldier, working 12, 15 hours a day, in school as a college student. I had children, right? I was a wife and I was a soldier. I was a leader. I was a daughter because my mom was with me. I was a sister. My brother depended on me sometimes. Like what I'm saying to you, I was a lot of things, right? And so I remember back then I was talking to someone and they had a housekeeper and this girl didn't have any kids. And I asked her, I said, well, that's being lazy in it, isn't it? That she had a housekeeper. We were in OCS together when I was in the army. And I told her, I said, is it because in my mind, right? I was like, that's being lazy. It's just you and your husband. Shouldn't you be able to wash, to clean your own house? She was like, no, I could use that time doing other things. And the way she said it, it was so, thank you so much, Marcus. It was so, as a matter of fact, like in other words, no, she said, and when she said it to me, she said, matter of fact, she said, you should have a housekeeper. She said, if you have little kids at home, instead of you worry about cleaning your house up, she said, you should spend that time with your kids. And it was such a smack in my face when she said it because I knew that part of my overwhelm was that. You know what I mean? Part of my overwhelm was that because trying to maintain the house, we had a structure. And so I say that because when we talk about that, we have so now I look at it like, am I being lazy if I don't clean my own house? Because that demand for me back then was not as it is right now, right? I had kids at home, which means they also did chores. I had a partner at the time, but now it's just my daughter and my space is bigger, which means I have more responsibilities, but yet there's less people. So I said no because I don't want to. That's what it is. Now, do I maintain in between my ladies coming in? Absolutely. But other than that, I don't want to. I don't care if I'm not doing nothing but listen to motivational tapes on YouTube while they in here cleaning. Okay? Because why? Being responsible for everything causes overwhelm. Because I found myself being putting off other things because I had to do these things over here. Sometimes I go in my guest bedroom, I be like, okay, maybe I need to come up in here and knock these spider webs down. Okay, I'm gonna come up in here and knock these spider webs down. Then I go in my daughter's room because she ain't but 11, so she's still not gonna keep her room the way it needs to be clean. I don't have time for all that. Okay, that put more gray hairs on my head. That put wrinkles on my face. And it puts like stress on me that I don't need. That's how you get to the hospital. And you know how you can know you're overwhelmed also? When the body tells you so. And I'm gonna tell you guys a story real quick before I get into this. How can we reset ourselves when it comes to being overwhelmed? But I'm gonna tell you a story right quick about how the body works, right? So the year had to be 2018ish, somewhere up in there, because my youngest son, he wasn't graduating from high school. What he did was he wasn't graduating from high school. What it was is that he had to he was going to like a school dance or something, right? It was something like that. And so when he got, so one day he called me. He said, "Mom, I need you to drop me off for the school dance." So of course, because he wasn't driving yet. So this particular day, I did my usual routine, whatever I did that day in my office, whatever I did in the house. This is 2018, so it's about a year or two after I retired from the military. And so I remember he had me to drop him off at the school for the dance. And before I did that, I cleaned up my car real nice because I was his chauffeur. So of course he wanted this nice car, to be his chauffeur, while him and his friend or whatever in the car together. So after I picked him up from that, I took him to after I dropped him off at school, I had to pick him up, and then from there I picked him up and took him to the restaurant. So once I did that, I remember coming back home because from there they were taking an Uber somewhere else, right? But I remember coming back home. And because so many things had happened leading up to that week, I was exhausted. When I tell you exhausted, I was exhausted. Remind you, I'm still trying to do everything, right? And I had this time I had my daughter she wasn't no more than about in 2018, she wasn't no more than about 5. So that was a responsibility, not to mention. But I remember coming home, and when I turned the corner of my block, I have neighbors that sits right on the corner. For a second, I passed out. And when I passed out, I hit their mailbox. And at the time, they were still building houses here on my block because this was a brand new built house. So they had one of those big trash cans sitting on the side of in the on like where a car would be parked at alongside of the curb, but it was right after my neighbor's mailbox. And so luckily, when I passed out, I kind of like grazed against the mailbox, and I snapped out of it. And when I snapped out of it, because I wasn't going that fast, I was able to avoid hitting that trash can. And so and all I could do was go on home, back up into the driveway because I'm literally at this point, 2 or 3 houses away. And then by that time, my neighbors come out, so I walked out and I told them I don't know what happened. But what I found out is that I was diagnosed with something called fibromyalgia. And my body had been so stressed and so overwhelmed that it had took me out. And in that moment, I was like, okay. Because, see, at that point, I was still trying to keep things afloat. Because the history is in 2018, like I said, I retired in 2016. In 2013, I got my daughter, right, that I didn't know I was going to get. 2010, I was in my second divorce. 2012 was when I moved to Virginia for the first time as a single mom. Now I have 2 kids and my mom. Then a year later, I get my daughter. And so I was just going. And so when it finally got to a point where my body couldn't take it no more, and here I was now around 2018, I was about 45. Honey, when I say it's shut down, it's shut down. Okay? And that's when I realized that, listen, you can feel like you're running and you can keep going and you can keep going. But one thing I know about the body is when it's tired or overwhelmed, it will react as such. Okay? So to answer the question, so you have your daughter's room cleaned also? Yes. That's, matter of fact, that's where I think they spend most of their time is in my daughter's room. Okay, they spend most of their time is in my daughter's room, between her room and her bathroom. And yeah, that's what it's, because listen, I might go in there and pull her couch back and she got water bottles or snack paper wrap bottles back there. So that's why I don't buy that stuff no more for her. You know what I'm saying? But that's another story. But I make her clean her room the best of her ability, and she know when I'm not playing. But then there's times when, Marcus, to be honest with you, I don't want to do it. It's just that simple. I don't even want to fuss at her about it. I don't even, listen, clean your room up. And what I do is I just take things from her, prohibit her from doing things. She know the rules. The older she gets, she knows the rules. If you want to go somewhere on Saturday, or you want a friend to come over here on Friday, when you ask me, that room better already be cleaned. It's not you ask me and then you clean the room up in time. No, baby girl. It better already be clean. So you already know the rules. So unless you want to sit in your room by yourself, then that's what it is. And so that's how it is. And so she already knows. She already know my cleaning is, I might go and pull some things, because y'all know I'm Army, I'm old school. I might go and pull some things from up under the bed. So when I say clean, I mean clean. I don't mean you just go in there and scan because you didn't got the things hid. No, all my kids are grown. My oldest son is 30. My baby boy will be 22. My oldest bonus daughter is 35, and the other is 33. So my adopted daughter is 11. Listen, I'm tired, honey. I'm tired. I'm tired. She better go head on. Okay. She better listen. I'm at the point now where I take things from her. All the things. My kids, my young older kids didn't have as many things to take from them. But I take things from her. Her electronics. I take the ability to go. She liked to eat expensive food. She liked to have snacks. She liked to go to the pool. Stuff like that. I just don't give it to her. But anyway, how can we reset in our framework when it comes to going making sure that we're not being overwhelmed? How do we get to that point? How do we recognize that in ourselves when we say, okay, I'm not lazy because my body is responding like I need rest, but I know that's not the case, so I'm overwhelmed, right? Because it's like I'm laying down, I'm procrastinating, I'm not doing the things I used to do, I'm not putting as much effort into the things I used to. Why is that? You are simply overwhelmed, which is another word for burnt out, right? So here's one way. So here's some ways, 5 ways, which is a reset framework. One, reframe what rest means to you. All right. Does Listen, I'm one of them people. I can't take a nap. Right. I got PTSD for different reasons. Okay. So I can't take a nap. The only time I can really nap is when I'm getting a massage or if I'm ill or sick or something. But to just lay down and take a nap, anybody that knows me know my body will have to be. And then of course there's times when my fibromyalgia might flare up, and it'll cause me to have to, relax a little bit more. But for the most part, I can't take a nap, right? But what I will do is lay in my massage chair or sit, meditate, close my eyes, do whatever so that I can relax my body. Because sometimes my body is moving so much because I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and it's constantly, right? That I all the time I fall asleep in that massage chair. And I listen, I got and listen, speaking of that massage chair, I listen. I got the BMW because I'm a BMW driver, but in my mind they're the elite of the elite. Okay, I know there's some other ones, but let's just say the Rolls Royce of massage chairs. And so when I tell you this thing do everything, baby, it do everything. Okay, so I'll get in that and fall asleep. But for the most part, though, relaxing my body is how I'm able to bring things down when I'm not so overwhelmed. Okay, now I got other things I do too. If you know, you know. Okay, I got my card. All right, so I do other things to bring myself down if I'm overwhelmed, to relax my mind, right? Because I have to. Being self-actualized means you have to be able to pour into yourself. You have to be able to know when enough is enough for you. You have to know when, you know what, I can't be my best self if I'm tired. I can't be my best self if I'm half-ass showing up when it comes to things that I know that normally I show up for fully, right? I can't be my best self. So how do you make sure that you are being your best self? You may not be able to go to sleep, but you should be able to relax your mind, or relax your body. That's one thing. The E, and this is a reset, RESET. So I got my card. Yes, honey, you know what card. So the E in reset, evaluate your energy spenders. In other words, where are you putting your energy into? When you are tired or overwhelmed, like, can you pay people to do certain things? Like when I was talking about the ladies that come in my house every 2 weeks, okay? All right. Listen, shout out to Sweeney. Okay. Shout out to Sweeney Cleaners. I mean, housekeeping. Okay. Shout out to her. But anyway, with that being said, can you hire people for certain things, right? And are you putting your energy into things that's not conducive, things that are not taking you to the next level? Sitting on the phone, gossiping, social media, like doing things where when you stroll in social media, like even at nighttime, when it's time to go to bed, are you still on your phone, right? That could be that you're tired. That could be that you're overwhelmed, but that can also be that you're lazy, right? Because you didn't do what you're supposed to do, so now you're just talking about you overwhelmed. No, if you had went to bed like you're supposed to, okay, you wouldn't be tired, because now you're legit tired. That's why I say this is part of knowing thyself, knowing who you are, admitting, because nobody's going to check you as an adult. Now I don't know how it work in your marriages, or which if you are with a significant other or whatever, but as an adult, nobody's going to check you about how you spend your day necessarily. So if you want to spend your day just doing nothing and you say, well, I'm overwhelmed, but then when you think about it, you ain't really did nothing all day. You are responsible for your own manifestation in this life. You are responsible for your own goals. You are responsible for achieving your higher self. Nobody else can get you there. So you can lie to everybody else, but at the end of the day, you cannot lie to yourself. Okay? Because what you're showing is, listen, you know if you're being lazy, or if you're overwhelmed, right? Or if you're spending time doing things that don't matter. All right? The S, set realistic daily goals. This don't have to be a lot. Just say, okay, today I'm going to make sure that I at least do these things. You know, even when I talk about the ladies that come into my house, right? When they're here, I'm thinking to myself, okay, Yashika, how can I fill these this hours? So I make sure. Listen, I don't care if it's me doing reading a book, me doggone doing something for my social media. I make sure that I do something, or even it could be me at being at the gym while they're here, me doing something that pours into me or push me forward for my goals while they're doing that. Because instead of me doing using my time on that, this is their job. Let me do my job. So in order for me to be great at my job, which is being an entrepreneur, I have to in turn employ people for me to do things for me, and that is one of the things, right? So that I can be better at my job. And so think about that from that perspective. When you're setting goals for yourself, what are your realistic goals? Are you Don't say that I'm a call 10 people today, right? And you know doggone where typically you don't even get to five. Set realistic goals. Don't say I'm gonna, walk, 5 miles today and it's hard for you to get to 2 miles. I'm not saying you can't do it. All I'm saying is that be realistic. If you know you breathe hard getting to 2 miles, maybe set a goal for 3 miles instead of five. Okay, because we don't want you out here on the side of the road, especially in this hot weather. Okay. All right. The E, enforce boundaries that reduce pressure. If you say no, say no. I talked about that yesterday, because when you obligate yourself to something, you're putting additional stress on you. Additional stress on you. You gotta listen again. You gotta protect you. No is no. No is a complete sentence, right? No is a complete sentence without explanation. You can say no and don't even have to explain. Just no, because I don't want to. Okay, that's it. That's all you can. You don't even got to say that. You can just walk off if you want to. Somebody say something to you, ask you for something, walk off. Don't even say nothing. All right. And then reset. The last letter of the reset, RESET framework is the T. Talk to yourself like someone you love. In other words, you have to give yourself positive affirmations. You have to be honest with yourself. Okay? Am I being lazy? Am I not? Like right now, I woke up tired, okay? Because the summertime is here, which means the girl have to be at school early because she in summer school. Listen, y'all got to go back and listen to the other lives. The girl did it to herself, so she in summer school, okay? She in summer school because she did it to herself. Well, anyway, summer school starts for her. She got to be at the bus stop at 6:45, okay? Which means that she got to get up around 6 o'clock at the latest, all right? Which means I got to get up to make sure she's up. This morning I didn't get up to 6:15, so guess what time she got up? 6:15. Although she got an alarm clock and everything, she still had to get up and do whatever. So what I'm saying is that I know we got to get up early because I got to make sure she up. I got to get her off to school on the bus and everything. But 11 o'clock last night, I was still watching some things on YouTube. Okay. All right. So I'm a little tired today. And I'm going to be a little tired because I'm going to be a little lazy. Now, I'm about to go to the gym because I do these lives before I go to the gym. But at the same time, I bought this tiredness on myself. So this is where the self-talk come into. Be like, girl, get up. Go and find you some. So this is what I got right now. This is what I got right now. Okay. And I didn't put it in my V8 energy drink, right? Because I figured it's a V8 energy drink plus some Mio. Baby, I should have a lot of energy by the time I get to the gym. Because I'm tired. All right? I'm tired. Now, again, what can you do to make it differently? Implement reset. The R, reframe your rest. Reframe what rest means to you. The E, evaluate your energy spenders. The S, set realistic goals. About 2 of them a day. That's it. Don't be trying to do, okay? 4, enforce boundaries that reduce pressure. And 5, talk to yourself like someone you love. Now, I know some of us are still trying to figure out how do we balance life and all that, okay? Listen, aren't you at the point of your life where you like, okay, am I at my best self? When it comes to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's easy for us to say, okay, have I got my philosophical needs met? Have I got my safety needs met? But when it comes to who am I? What am I supposed to do? What is my gift to the world? That's where people get stuck. A lot of times, that's what people try to figure out. Listen, that's some bougie. You know what? Let me say this real quick. This is actually a water glass. This is actually a water glass. This is actually a water glass, honey. This is actually a water glass. I'm too old to drink out of cups. You know what I'm saying? I'm too old to drink out of cups. So I thought all adults over 40 drink out of glasses, water glasses. And then you put the little straw in there. You know what I'm saying? So you can put the little pinky finger up. But anyway, I'm so glad you're here this morning, Marcus. Thank you for coming in and entertaining me because normally I'm here by myself. Thank you. And all this is going to be purpose, even you being here. So you're going to be over on YouTube too, honey. And after you see what the things that I got going on, listen, honey. Listen, 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 listen. Okay. But anyway, when it comes to, thank you, when it comes to that, let me say this. This is, listen, every day whenever me and my girl Yasmin put these notes together, I always have to put something that I know spiritually I'm being guided to say. And so I'll give her, I'll come up with certain things and give her, certain things. So me and her came up with this quote. Today's message reminded me sometimes the doing nothing phase is the most sacred because in stillness your directions get restored. Say that again. Sometimes the doing nothing phase is the most sacred because in stillness your direction gets restored. So when you feel like you got to take a knee, like we said in the army, take a knee, drink water, do whatever you got to do. Listen, don't look at yourself as being lazy. Look at yourself as, listen, I have to pour into myself. I need to give back to what I know that I'm usually more accountable for, whether it's the way I look, whether it's the way my health. Like we can look in the mirror and say, oh my God, I'm getting out of shape. I'm getting fluffy, right? Okay, how do you give yourself those self-talk to say, okay, I don't like this for myself. Have I been lazy in the area of my physical health? Okay, and working out. You got to be honest with yourself. Only you can check yourself. But this is something you're still struggling with. Listen, you can check me out on all social platforms at Hood Parenting. But also, if you are ready to work with a coach, a self-actualization, or life strategist, hit me in my DMs and say, Sheikah, listen, I'm ready, or the bio up top. And also, if you don't know if you're still living in hustle mode or that internalized hustle mode that we have going on, because we have to, and if we don't live that way, if we're not hustling every day, we're being lazy, because y'all know where that come from, right? Y'all know where a lot of that come from, right? If you still cannot shake that of yourself, then listen, hit your girl up, because I know I can help you get to where you are going. Because listen, some of the things that we believe are not our own. It's things that we carry with us from our parents, from the people that raised us, whoever it may be. And so we have to get away from that. We have to get away from that. Remember, you can get a lot of things done in a very short period of time if you're intentional about it. All right. When the body says rest, you have to rest, and you have to know the difference, and you have to be honest, because if not, you'll be like me, having my insurance pay for somebody's mailbox. Okay? Okay, because I didn't listen to my body. All right. So, listen, you guys can check me out again tomorrow as we are continuing on with the series of getting to self-actualization. Again, I am Yashika Foster. I am your self-actualization and life strategist coach. And trust me, if you set up a consultation with me, which is free, a 15-minute consultation, which is free, listen, just come and chit chat with me. You're going to want me to be your coach. You're going to be like, you know what? It's something about that girl. I need her in my life. I'll catch y'all in the next live. Bye.